Imagine a secret drone base, hidden units smuggled across borders, and missiles ripped from Iran's skies. This didn't happen in Hollywood. It was real. June 13, 2025. Operation Rising Lion. Mossad and the Israeli Air Force dismantled Iran's defense in one fell swoop, executing one of the most audacious, precision-guided hybrid operations the modern world has ever witnessed. Welcome to Chill Memoirs, where covert missions echo through history. If real-world espionage makes your pulse race, hit that subscribe button, because today we expose how Mossad got inside Iran, literally from the inside out. Long before that fateful June morning, Mossad operatives had been operating under the radar inside Iran. According to a BBC News, The Times of Israel, and classified sources later corroborated by declassified documents, Israeli intelligence had been mapping Iran's military and nuclear infrastructure for over a decade. Key to this operation was the 2018 Mossad raid in Tehran, where agents extracted over 100,000 sensitive nuclear documents from a hidden archive in the Shorabad district. This act alone showcased not only access, but strategic foresight. Mossad wasn't reacting to Iran's threat, they were preparing for something bigger. That bigger event turned out to be Operation Rising Lion. Over the years, Israeli intelligence quietly established a logistics and tech supply chain inside Iran. Using a combination of front companies, sympathetic agents, and diplomatic blind spots, Mossad smuggled hundreds of components used to build armed quadcopter drones. These weren't toys. Each drone was equipped with high-resolution thermal sensors, miniature explosive payloads, and silent propulsion systems that could hover for hours without detection. These drones were stored in repurposed storage facilities, residential buildings, and even abandoned vehicles in remote rural areas. The units were activated remotely, controlled by both local operatives and satellite-linked controllers from Mossad's Tel Aviv nerve center. Phase 1 began with a whisper, not a bang. As the sun rose on June 13th, synchronized drone swarms emerged from rooftops and barns across central and western Iran. Their targets? Fixed radar stations, mobile tracking trucks, and electronic warfare vehicles. Within 15 minutes, Iran's integrated air defense grid began to collapse, blind to the airspace above it. Phase 2 kicked in with coordinated ground assaults using disguised vehicles, driven by Mossad-trained agents posing as ordinary Iranians. These vehicles approached radar sites and launched short-range drones that exploded on impact, taking out remaining systems too hardened or hidden to be struck from the air. Phase 3 followed almost instantly. Israeli Air Force fighter jets, flying from distant Israeli bases and using encrypted stealth corridors, swept into Iranian airspace. Freed from the threat of anti-aircraft missiles and radar locks, they targeted over 120 high-value locations, ballistic missile launchers, uranium enrichment centers, and long-range drone hangars. What stunned the world wasn't just the speed of the strikes, but their accuracy. Mossad had clearly mapped the terrain down to individual floor plans. In several cases, missiles pierced underground bunkers via ventilation shafts and structural weak points. And then came the assassinations. Concurrent to the military strikes, Mossad carried out precision-targeted eliminations of senior IRGC leaders. Among them were Gen Hossein Salami and Gen Mohammad Bagheri. both considered architects of Iran's regional military strategy. Sources reported that their convoys were intercepted using car bombs disguised as breakdown vehicles and drones disguised as birds. Even Iran's top nuclear scientists weren't spared. In separate events unfolding just hours apart, two of Iran's leading physicists were taken out. One via a remote-triggered explosive hidden inside his office bookshelf, and the other via a drone attack while commuting to a restricted government lab. In Tehran, panic set in. Social media was flooded with grainy night vision videos of explosions, people screaming, and power cuts. Confused government statements followed. First, Iran denied the attacks. Then they blamed internal malfunctions. Finally, they admitted the unthinkable. Mossad had breached their skies. One IRGC general stated anonymously, "It felt like ghosts were everywhere. Trucks disappeared. People vanished. They knew everything." Psychological warfare became the fourth and unspoken phase of Operation Rising Lion. Tehran issued a public pardon for anyone who turned in a Mossad agent, a move analysts saw as desperation. Billboards appeared overnight calling for national unity against Zionist infiltration. But the message was clear. Iran's regime was afraid. Despite the scale of the assault, Iran's response was muted. No major retaliatory strike followed. Analysts from Rand Corporation and the Institute for National Security studies speculated that key command systems had been compromised so deeply that a coordinated counterattack was impossible. This operation became a defining case study in modern hybrid warfare. It wasn't just airstrikes or sabotage. It was a fusion of espionage, electronic warfare, psychological operations, and drone-based tactics. Analysts hailed Mossad's ability to sync intelligence with artificial intelligence, using deep learning models to simulate attack outcomes and adjust operations in real time. American defense agencies quietly praised the operation even if publicly they maintained silence. Internally, NATO member states revised their protocols for defending critical infrastructure against infiltration from trusted internal channels. For Israel, the success of Operation Rising Lion was redemptive. After being blindsided by Hamas's brutal 2023 border attack, public confidence in the nation's intelligence agencies had waned. But this operation reminded the world and Israeli citizens that their spycraft was not only intact, but evolving. Gone are the days of trench coats and briefcases. Today, agents carry encrypted tablets, fly miniature drones, and weaponize public perception. The battlefield is no longer far-flung deserts or foreign cities. It's your digital ecosystem. The drone base hidden inside Iran represented not just physical infiltration, but ideological dominance. Mossad had turned Iran's territory into a chessboard and moved its pieces undetected. Iranian intelligence agencies are now grappling with an uncomfortable truth. If their most secure facilities could be compromised, what else is vulnerable? Could encrypted communications, biometric systems, even government satellite links be fake safe havens? The jihadi networks, the nuclear threats, all met with a spy's pen, a drone's wings, and a fighter jet's bombs. But most critically, they were met with timing. Mossad didn't just strike hard. They struck right. Operation Rising Lion wasn't just about bombs. It was about control, commanding time, space, and narrative. Before Iran could even identify the breach, the story was already written, the footage edited, and the global media moving on. And yet the world watched. The operation left global powers rethinking security. Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Egypt, and the UAE accelerated their cybersecurity defenses. The United States reportedly began funding deeper AI-enhanced early warning systems. China and Russia issued cautious statements, but increased domestic surveillance programs in response. The ghost had spoken, and everyone heard it. So is Operation Rising Lion a one-time showcase of Israel's capabilities or a prelude to something even bigger? Could 2026 see new frontiers of shadow warfare carried not by soldiers, but by strings of code and flocks of drones? What do you believe? Could these covert tactics redefine how nations go to war? Let us know in the comments. And if you found this expose gripping, give it a like, share with your fellow history detectives, and don't forget to subscribe. At Chill Memoirs, we don't just tell stories, we expose the whispers of history. Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, and stay informed.